What's up game developers, CouchFerret here, and today we'll continue to work on the character's design from last time. If you haven't watched part 1, you'll probably want to watch that episode first. We'll start by remaking the character's clothes so he looks like an archer and not a random guy in jeans. He will have leather armor, a bow, a quiver and a cloak. Then we will draw all the animations we need to put him into Unity. Animations will include idle, walking and running in all 8 directions, with and without a bow. Then finally, aiming and shooting animations as well. If it sounds fun, then stay with me and let me know in the comments what other characters you would like to see. And also show some support by hitting the subscribe and the like button under the video. Thanks! Now let's begin! I'll start by drawing on top of the last episode's character, and to make him more interesting, I'm giving him brown leather armor, a green cloak and a belt. Let's see how the bow fits his hand. I'm also putting 2 white pixels next to his shoulder to represent the arrows in his quiver. At this point, I'll draw the rest of the 7 directions too, to have a turntable of the archer. I'll make 2 versions of him, one with a bow and one without it. I'm shading the archer to make his chest look like a rotated box, so it gives a sense of direction. And also, the 1 dark pixel on his belt helps with that too. The side view ended up being a bit too wide with the quiver on his back, so I'll erase it and try to redraw it as small as possible. The arrow in the quiver defines the smallest size in this case. While I draw, I'm picking the colors from the existing views and paying attention to keep the belt and head lines at the same height between views. In the back view, I make the cloak hang a bit to the right, so I can animate a slight movement to it later in the running animation. Now I finish it up with his quiver. I've tried to make it wider, but I didn't like the result, so I settled on a 2x3 rectangle shape with an arrow hanging out of its top. I've been talking about keeping every aspect of the character in line, but I managed to draw the arrow 1 pixel higher than in previous frames, so I move it down by 1 pixel to fix it. The side views are always tough with so few pixels available, but I'll just mirror the existing side view on the left and fix the highlights and shadows so our light source is at the top right corner. And now there's only 1 view missing to have the turntable. Okay, now we have all of them. Just a slight adjustment and we can start copying the frames to the animation sprite sheet. So this is how it looks when he is rotating. With this turntable animation we can easily see and fix the flaws, like the noticeable differences between frames. I'm making the bow look a bit more 3-dimensional by making it asymmetrical. I think the whole archer is too brown, so I select his leather armor and adjust the colors to find a new color. The game needs a few color variations anyway, because the players need to be able to distinguish their characters from the others. I think this red armor and the blue cloak will do the job. I'll copy it back to the character's concept sheet to create a few more color variations. Now I select both the armor and the cloak and shift the hues to find a new color. This yellow with the dark blue cloak looks cool. I'm now looking for a green to have a green player in the game. Maybe a red cloak will complement the green armor well. Let's pick the red player's colors because they are really similar to the ones I created with the hue adjustments. I'm adjusting the yellow player to make him more vibrant and bright. And for the last color, let's find a bright blue. This is nice. I'm changing the cloak to maybe a purple, so it won't be the same as the yellow player's cloak. Okay, now I have to change the colors in all the frames. It's not bad, but the quiver is not right in a few frames. So let's fix that. Cool! I think this one is ready to be in the game. To speed up the animation process, I'm making a version of this turntable without a bow, so it's easier to animate the running and walking animations. I will draw the bow on them later. Now I'll start to draw on top of last episode's animation. While I'm animating, I want to say thank you to all of you. I've recently passed 2000 subscribers with my channel, which is awesome. I've gotten a lot of kind words and support from you guys. Thank you. And I can't wait to see what 2019 holds. I will continue to work on the game and keep making videos about every aspect of it. As you may have noticed, I upload less nowadays, since I used to upload once every week. I've decided that I won't rush just to post weekly videos, but I will upload as soon as a video is ready. You can be sure that I work on the game or on these videos every day. I think I'll be putting out 2 or 3 videos a month, but this really depends on the subject of the videos. For example, a drawing time-lapse video like this one usually takes more time to produce and also ends up being longer too. However, a Unity-related video takes less time to do and is easier to edit. But we will see. The other reason I won't be rushing videos out is that with every video, I'm setting a new quality standard for myself with my videos, meaning I won't upload videos with worse quality compared to the last video. This way, I'll have a continuous improvement on my channel. I enjoy figuring out ways to make my videos more interesting and fun anyway. If you have any ideas, don't hesitate to share it with me in the comment section or in DMs on Discord. You can find me as CouchFerret #8776 on various Unity-related Discord servers like Brackies, Psychos or Blackthorn Prod server, links are in the description. I recommend joining their servers anyway. The next few videos I'm planning to do will be about Unity. I'd like to make progress on the game's features and mechanics, but I'll be jumping back and forth between Unity and Aseprite from time to time. I have an Aseprite video in mind about drawing a pretty cool looking map. Some kind of ancient stone platform in the water, and the players will fight each other on top of it, or fight together to defeat monsters and survive. I want to have multiple modes in the game like Deathmatch, Team Deathmatch, Last Man Standing and a survival mode where monsters come in waves. I'd like to create a fun local multiplayer experience for everybody. That's why I also have plans to port it to Nintendo Switch, but I think PC will be the first platform where this game comes out. And I'll be uploading videos and tutorials as much as I can about the process, so stay tuned! A lot of you have suggested in the comments and in emails that it would be helpful to somehow make the project's sprites and scripts available online. I think it's a good idea and I'm working on it, figuring out a system to make the project's files accessible. I'm planning to have it on GitHub, so I can tag points in time after every episode to allow you to go back and see a given episode's version of the game. I also lack social media presence, so I plan to be more active on Twitter, Facebook, Reddit and maybe on Instagram. I want to be more reachable and closer to you guys to stay in touch. I'll be announcing these things at some point in the near future here on YouTube. I'll have a website set up to hold all the information in one place. One far-fetched idea of mine is to get together on a CouchFerret Discord server. That would be fun. Let me know if you would be interested in this. But that's enough talk about my silly thoughts. Here in this side view animation, I make the cloak move a bit when the archer jumps into the air, so it won't remain stiff all the time. It will be a bit dynamic. It's a long process to make all these animations, but it isn't hard. I already have a good base animation from the last episode, so it's enough to just paint over and draw all the details I want. It's a good practice to start blocking things out and to get the fundamentals right first and then add the details later. The fundamentals are the tricky part. For example, to get the walking movement right and make the legs move naturally. I usually start redrawing an animation by copying over the idle or standing frame from the turntable. All of my animations have 2 standing frames in it, and 2 and 2 frames for the left and right steps. That's how it adds up to 6 frames. This way, it won't look odd when a running animation abruptly stops because of the sudden change of user inputs. The worst case is that 1 frame is skipped when an animation state changes from run to idle. After copying the standing frames, I remove the old details and change the colors to our new look. Then I redraw the belt and the legs. I've decided to let him not walk barefoot and painted it over with the red leather color. Then it's time to add those details that make the archer interesting. The quiver and the arrow hanging out of it really fill the empty space at the character's back. I got this quiver idea from the game Titan Souls. It's always a good idea to look for inspiration when you are creating your own characters. Study others' work to see how they made things look good and take inspiration from them. And it's not only true for graphics and art, but it's also for game design, mechanics, story, music, sound effects, every aspect of a game. Play a lot of games and gather all the things you like, add your own changes and improvements to them, and make your game around that. Now I try to make the cloak move from one side to another between the steps to give it a nice motion. Like in the side views animation, but here there are more pixels to work with. With this walk left down animation done, I've finished all the walking and running animations without a bow. Animating can seem like a long and tedious process, but when you put it into Unity and you see your character coming to life, then you will know it's worth the hassle. Now I'll extend the previous animations with the bow. I've put the bow on a separate layer, so it's easier to modify it by animating. I'd like this animation to be the default one in the game, so the archer runs around with the bow in his hand. This process isn't hard, I just tweak the bow until the animation looks right. The main ideas are to have the hand grip the bow in the middle, and to kind of keep the bow perpendicular to the hand. Looks good to me in the preview. Now I just need to do this in the remaining directions. Sometimes it's enough to just copy the bow from the running animation to get the walking animation with the bow. The only difference is that the walking animation doesn't jump up 1 pixel during a step. I need to move the bow down 1 pixel in most of the frames to fix this difference. Okay, the walking and the running animations now have versions with and without a bow. Only the shooting animations remained and we are ready to use the sprite sheet in Unity. I'll start with a turntable animation as always. I'm drawing in the arrow and the bowstring to demonstrate the tension in the bow when the archer draws it. I'm also modifying the arms too. The right arm pulls the arrow backward and the left arm holds the bow. I figured out that if I remove the left arm, which would hold the bow, then it looks better than if I try to draw a very long left arm to hold it. I've also tried decreasing the opacity of the bowstring, but in the end I increased it back to 100. It looked clearer as pure white. The aiming animation's turntable is done. Now I'm duplicating it and modifying it to get an animation that comes after the point when the archer releases the arrow. I'll erase the arrow of course and loosen the bowstring a bit. Also, I'll make the right arm jump back too. The previous version of the character had more frames in its shooting animation, but I've decided to have only 2 frames in this case. One is the aiming frame when the archer draws the bow, and the other is the shooting frame when he releases the arrow to shoot. And instead of splitting the character into 2 halves in Unity, I will go forward with having a whole character again. Now I'm making walking variations of both the aiming and the shooting frames in all directions, so the archer can move and aim at the same time. It's nothing special, I just copy the frames from the walking animations and recreate the aiming or shooting frames on top of them. And we are done. We've finished all the animations we need at the moment. Next time we will take all of these animations and import them into Unity. We will also create a new animator controller with blend trees in it to transition between animations. So be sure to subscribe and leave a thumbs up. If you have any questions about what you have just seen, feel free to ask and I try to answer all of them. See you next time!